Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. Today's episode is called It's Always Something. Talking about those everyday things that kind of impact your life in, first world ways, but we have found that sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones for some of these common problems. For example, before Thanksgiving, so it's January, it's the end of January as we're recording this. Before Thanksgiving, one of the brake cables on Joe's wheelchair broke. And we still do not have the replacement part for that brake. So Joe has two brakes, one on either side on this wheelchair. And so it's not ideal to put Joe in a car or really to take him anywhere without fully functioning brakes for reasons you can well imagine. Why has it taken this long to get the brake fixed? Well, I'm going to do a quick rundown for you. Money. So we probably could private pay out of pocket to get the part, but this is a pediatric chair. And because it's a pediatric chair, we cannot order the parts online. And the wheelchair company that we work through that has the warranty on this chair will not sell it to us outright. We have to go through insurance. And the red tape for the insurance is crazy. So first they had to go through the insurance company to review whether or not they would approve the part, the brake cable part, which is proprietary, by the way. It's not like it's specific to this chair. The cable isn't, but the attachments on either side of the brake are proprietary. So you can only get the brake cable for this chair because of the connections to the brake and the other part of the chair. So then after the insurance, so we had to get a doctor's note, then the insurance company looked at it, then Medicaid looked at it before they would even order the part. So it's not like you just take your car to the garage and they get the part. It's like you have to go to the car manufacturer and say, do we need this part? And what should it cost to replace? I mean, it's crazy. Meanwhile, here's a person who uses this chair for his dining room table, his seat at class, his transportation in his car, his legs. I mean, it is crazy, 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 crazy. Supply chain. Sometimes it's really hard to get replacement parts for things because of some interruption in the supply chain. And yes, we are still feeling the effects of that long after COVID, because some companies, like certain kinds of medications, are hard to get. It's just something we're all learning how to deal with now. And then poor service. Yes, I'm saying it. Poor customer service. I don't even want to give you the ugly details around the brake situation and poor customer service, but it is something that we families of a person with a disability have to deal with, and from medical practitioners, from insurance companies, from durable medical goods providers. If you talk to 10 families, I bet 5 of them can tell you a horrible customer service story. There's an attitude of ableism, and yes, I am getting on my soapbox this morning, but there is an attitude of ableism among some of these folks who act like we should be glad for whatever we get. Well, I'm going to tell you, I pay taxes. I work hard for a living. Joe works hard, and he's entitled to all the services he gets. We're not trying to, get anything for free. We are, just living our lives, and it's insulting, and frankly, it's coming from people who don't have a person in their lives with a disability. So when they're rude to me, I have to remind myself, poor things, they just don't understand. But it is frustrating to deal with that attitude of you should be happy with what you get. That's not really fair. Just saying. So, what do you do from before Thanksgiving until now? So, many of us have discovered that when there is an issue with getting a repair to something, or coming up with maybe a piece of equipment that you can't afford, can't get approval on, or doesn't exist, because each person's needs are so different, here are some of the things that you learn how to do. You look at good old YouTube videos to fix broken things. You can do it yourself, make something, or you can go to your community and borrow something, or, sometimes people aren't using something anymore and they give it to you. So it's important to have resources beyond the traditional insurance company, et cetera, et cetera. So here's what our very primitive, elegant solution is to Joe's brake problem. It's a piece of wood that we stick in there as a brake. There have been some things that Joe has missed because it's unsafe for him to, for example, go on a mountain road in a car with not exactly working brakes. So Joe's missed some field trips with his school because I couldn't ask them to take that risk of letting him ride on the bus with insufficient brakes. And so that's been a challenge, but at least I can put this on at home and get him in and out of his chair without the chair moving. And it's been a good temporary fix. But I want to talk to you about some other things that we've made, either from ideas that I've seen on YouTube or do-it-yourself things, or other families have told me about. So Joe has very tight hands, and he needs something to keep his hands either occupied or open. And this is a piece of PVC pipe with a little bit of moleskin. You can get moleskin in the drugstore. Usually people use it for when they have corns on their feet. It has adhesive on one side and it's very soft and it absorbs moisture. And you can just wipe this down with a disinfectant wipe or hand sanitizer, or spray it with a Lysol or something to sanitize it. But this was leftover PVC pipe that we had. Here's another one that's a little bit larger. So if we want Joe's hand to be a little wider open, more open, would you care to demonstrate? This one doesn't have moleskin on it because I ran out of moleskin. That was Mom's Touch. It doesn't have to have moleskin on it. But as you can see, it's very hard for Joe to open his hand. So, and what happens over time for people with CP is your hand will develop what's called contractures, which means that the shape of the bone changes. Like instead of his hand being like this when it's open, it's crooked because of the constant pull on his bones and muscles from being closed all the time. So opening his hand, not only is it a hygiene issue because you don't want to have pressure sores or, dirt, sweat built up on your hand. It's very important. This hand hygiene is very important for people with CP. Some people actually damage the skin on their hand from their nails pressing into their hands. That's not just a CP thing, but that is something that a tool like this, which was virtually free to make, versus, going to a company and getting hand splints, which I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Hand splints are custom made and they're, Joe has some, but this is a good solution if that's not something you can access. Another thing I want to show you is this recent invention that we came up with as a way for Joe to practice closing the car door. Joe, do you like closing the car door? Do you enjoy that? Are you having a hard time right now? Are you having a hard time right now? Are you hurting? Are you uncomfortable? Can I tell people about how you like to close the door, the car door? Can I share about that? Is that okay? Yes? Tell me with your voice. Can I share about closing the car door? I see your smile. Can you tell me with your voice? Can I tell people about how you like to close the car door? All right, well, I'm going to share. And if you're upset with me, I apologize. So we got this strap that I think came from a piece of equipment. It looks like a seat belt. Has this little thing right here. And we put one of Joe's hand stretchers on it and we loop it around the door handle. And Joe is able to pull, which is a natural movement for him, to pull his hand this way. And Joe is able to close the car door using this very simple and inexpensive device. So why am I telling you this? Because every day we are confronted with situations where either the equipment isn't working or isn't built to suit our needs. We carry bungee cords around for different things. I mean, we and probably other families you know, and probably you have figured out low-tech solutions to, equipment issues or life issues. Hacks, we call them hacks. So I just wanted to share some of those for people who don't live with a person with a disability, just so you kind of know what we deal with on a regular basis, and also to inspire and encourage you, those of you who do live with a person with disabilities, to keep on, keeping on. Here are some other helpful resources. Disability organizations. One of my favorites is FODAC in Georgia. It stands for Families of Disabled Adults and Children, FODAC. And they're based out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, and they provide equipment. They refurbish equipment, and they do a lot of other things. But we got a stander from them when Joe needed one, and we didn't have to go in through insurance. There is a $25 one-time membership fee, but after that, everything else is free. And we've donated back to them. So they're also a good resource for if you're trying to fix something and you can't figure it out. Sometimes the folks there really, they have like Santa's elves in the workshop. They have people that know how to fix things and refurbish things. So disability orgs is one way. Church ministries. There are ministries around different communities. I know, I'm pretty sure Easter Seals in Western Georgia has like equipment sharing programs. There are church ministries who do that or will help you pay for, maybe if you need to modify a vehicle or put a ramp on your house. Community organizations like Rotary Club and Kiwanis also do things like that. Your doctor. So doctors have the power of the prescription. If they will write a letter of medical necessity, sometimes that is the thing that really helps you get the piece of equipment or the modification to whatever your home or your vehicle that you need. So talk to your doctor about what it is you're trying to accomplish, and they might have some resources for you. And then schools. Sometimes schools will sell old equipment that they no longer use. And so that's another way. Now they have a process that they have to do because that's tax funded equipment. So like they have to advertise it, and sometimes they don't sell to private people, but if you go to like an auction, if they're having an auction or some kind of formal process for selling things, and sometimes parents donate old equipment to a school when their child grows out of it. And sometimes the PT at the school can help you with, maybe borrowing to try something out, or maybe, loaning it to you, giving it to you, whatever. So schools are another resource. So all of these places are great ideas for finding things that maybe you need for your loved one, but can't figure out how to get, or medical equipment is so insanely expensive. And when it breaks, it can really create havoc in your lives. And so it's, here are some methods for dealing with some of those first world problems. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.